Hi, everybody. It's that time again. Time to talk about comic books. Who is talking about comic books anymore? Nobody. Talking about comic books is lame. So I guess I'm just a big lame. But there are a lot of comic books I'd like to talk with you about. Please comment if you have any comments about any of these comic books. Or if I get anything wrong, I love the dialogue with people, especially about comic books. So, set me straight if I got something wrong. But anywho, the first comic book I want to share with you is Black Bolt number 5. Um, I've been enjoying this series. It's a character study for the most part. I'll probably get one more issue and then start trade watching it, just because it's easier to take in something like a character study when it's collected a little bit. It's a little hard for an issue by issue thing to enjoy, but it's been good so far. This issue specifically, I don't know if this is canon or not, so if anybody watches this and you knows, you can tell me. But basically, in this issue, spoilers, they say that Black Bolt was exposed to the Terrigen Mist as an infant in utero. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe it was the king and the queen, and that's so. Even as a baby, he had his powers, which I find kind of weird. Or maybe not weird. I don't know. Because if you're in the Inhumans and you have this whole big ceremony, which I always took to be sort of like a bat mitzvah or a quinceañera or something like that, where a lot of cultures have it, where it's like when you're an adult, we're gonna do a certain thing, and so now, and I always took this the Terrigen Mist ceremony as being sort of like that. When you're of a certain age, we're gonna, you will be an adult now. So for them to say in here, anyways, that he was, exposed very, very young, I find that a little. I don't know if I like that aspect, but was it something that was established before? I don't know. It doesn't seem like it was, but maybe it was. And then with Lockjaw in here, I've always loved the story of Lockjaw as an inhuman, i.e., he was exposed to the Terrigen Mist, and this is what happened to him. He became a sort of dog-like creature. Because honestly, some of the best things about the Inhumans to me is when non-humanoid things happen to them. They grow wings, or in the case of Gorgon, he has the satyr legs and stuff like that, or Triton, is all scaly and stuff like that. It's almost, I want to see them more expanded. So the idea of Lockjaw being a human who became a dog, or a dog type creature, that interests me. But in this, he's just a puppy. He's just a puppy, and they don't really explain how he has this transporting powers or something like that. So it's a boy and his dog is what this issue is basically. Did anybody see the Inhumans movie? No, just me. Let's spoil that a little bit. Because you know what? I liked it overall. I think I'll watch it on TV, or maybe I'll wait for the season to be collected and I'll watch that. My only real big complaint with it is that it's so cheap. But that's what ABC does, It's one of the reasons I couldn't get into the Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. because it's so cheap looking. And when you have a show that's based on superheroes, you got to show us the powers. You have to show us them using their powers. And they cheap out on this so bad. Which doesn't make sense. ABC is owned by Disney. You have all the money in the world. So give us some effects. And not the same effects over and over again. But so it looks very cheap. And the use of the powers is very cheap. They do Lockjaw very well in the show, but everybody else and their use of their powers, it's very sparse, and this could just be any group of any people for the most part. The best part of it is Bolton Ramsey as Maximus, playing Bolton Ramsey. He plays the same character, a short guy with a Napoleon complex. So, but they do a good job of showing him being manipulative. Getting other people's skin, getting them to think about things, which is, sort of his superpower. They keep suggesting that he doesn't have any inhuman abilities, although I think we all know differently. So it's interesting to see him sort of like being played as this sort of like, I'm only a human, I'm not an inhuman, and therefore I advocate for all of those who get powers that aren't as grandiose as some others. There's definitely a class system going on the show, so that's going to be interesting to watch, at least for a season. To see how they play that out, and the way that the royal family is played is like an actual royal family, wherein that they're not quite aware of what life is really like for anybody who isn't a royal. So when they're kind of placed in this human environment, i.e. they're just on Earth now, and they're just in Southern California or Hawaii. A lot of it looks like, the back lot where they used to shoot Lost. How will they deal with that? Well, we'll see. They don't show enough of the powers, and the biggest glaring example of that, spoilers, is with Medusa, because, her power is her hair, and being able to use it to give people hair jobs, like she does to Black Bolt when they're in bed together. But to get by that so that she can be just a character in a TV show, they shave her head. So you tell me, as a lifelong, comic book nerd and fan of the Inhumans, if she had already been established as a character on the show, let's say like season 2, we've seen her use her hair all this time, and then she gets shaved bald, then you've got some drama. Then you've got something for her to overcome. In the very first episode, a character that you tell us has this power of using her hair, and then you just shave her so that you don't have to use that effect anymore. No, I'm sorry, that actress isn't strong enough to convey that sort of loss very well. So I'll probably watch the first season, or at least a couple of episodes of the first season, but I'm not very hopeful about it. We'll see, though. I'm not a big fan of this idea that, you have to wait for a show to find its legs. No, you should, if you don't have a concept, if you don't have strong acting, just don't make it. Don't do it, And I get that all these properties are just, to sell stuff, but, I don't know. I just love the Inhumans, and especially the royal family. And I really just want to see some justice be done with them, so there. Astonishing X-Men number 3. I didn't realize that this was going to be a different artist every issue, which is too bad because they're not all good. This is some of the worst Ed McGuinness art I think I've ever seen. Whoever's doing the inking on this is doing him some very disservice. This issue is mostly about Old Man Logan, who I don't really care about. So we'll see with that. There is one really good character moment in there. I think, spoilers, the basic concept here is that the Shadow King and Charles Xavier are fighting in the Shadow King world, and Charles Xavier and the Shadow King are basically doing that kind of, we're playing chess with the different mutants. So a bunch of them were brought into the Shadow King world, but in the real world, they're in London, and Psylocke is watching over them because in order to grab all these people, she kind of sent out a psychic blast all over the city, and so a lot of people were affected, and the powers that be found out where they were at, and so they're kind of getting ready to attack. So it's sort of like she's got to guard these people while the outside world is trying to come in and take over. And Bishop is with her, and Archangel is with her, Angel is with her, and there's some good moments with Angel, actually, because he's really fighting with Archangel persona. Basically, he has his own Hulk out thing going on now, like when he gets angry or you upset him, he becomes Archangel and he turns all blue, so you don't want that to happen. But so there were some fun moments in this with him having to basically deal with that. He almost arcs out, and but he reins it in. So for him, that was an interesting thing. But overall, the storyline's not doing much for me, and I'm disappointed that it's a different artist each time because I was really excited with the first issue. And it still has some of my favorite characters in it, like Fantamax and Archangel, and Mystique is in it, and all this kind of stuff like that. So I know we talked last time about Sheena of the Jungle and her 0 issue. Well, now we've got number 1, and the art continues to be very good, and the story actually continues to be very good. So I feel very optimistic about this. It's still Sheena being a little naive about the outside world because she's always lived where she's lived. And military types, of course, are coming in, but drones are coming in. and she's learning basically what the outside world is like, which is interesting. They established a village for her of people. They're a little mysticky, but not, overbearingly mysticky. Like they don't have superpowers of their own or anything like that. So I think it's going to be a good run. We'll see. The art is all cheesecake art. When she falls, it's always so that her butt and her breasts will be in the panel at the same time. But, if the story is strong, I don't mind stuff like that. I think it adds to it. If there's no story, then that makes no sense to do something like that. But Sheena is good. Good, good, good. I'm very excited about the return of Black Magic. Hopefully you read this, the first 6 issues of this, or got the trade of the first 6 issues of this. If you're a Wiccan, you must read this book. Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott are doing an awesome job. I can't say enough about Nicola Scott in this comic book. She's always been a great artist, and I've loved what she does. But this black and white stuff that she's doing in here is just, and I'm going to show you some panels just so you can see. It's just, well, this one actually has some color in it. I don't want that panel. Let me look for a panel where you're really just getting the black and white. I don't know what process they're using. I don't know what they're doing. Here, I'll just show you like this panel. But it's just amazing. It's just beautiful. And kudos to her and everybody on this team, because it's, it's just a great black and white comic book. The basic premise is that there is a Wiccan who is also a police officer who solves different, crimes using her abilities, but also she doesn't want to be known, as a Wiccan, but there's other Wiccans out there who are coming for her, gunning for her. So she's got to use her abilities to, hide and stuff like that. And it's been very interesting. It's a very well drawn and written book. I mean, I wouldn't expect anything less from Greg Rucka and Nicola Scott. Put this on your pull list and keep it there forever and ever. Also, her partner is really cute. She draws her partner. We need to see, Nicola, if you're watching this, we need to see like a naked butt scene with him, please. Something for the ladies, please. This is the last issue I'm going to get of America Karate. I think I'm over it at this point. I don't know if they changed writers for the last 2 issues or whatever, but that, silly 8-year-old who was enjoying this isn't enjoying it anymore. It's just really gotten too much about the karate sex. Which, again, if I was 8 years old, I'd think it was so funny, but I'm not 8 years old. I just look 8. Is anybody reading Star Wars? This has been, again, really, really good. And as I mentioned before, there's a lot of different characters who have been created for this, created in this latest itinerary of Star Wars comics by Marvel, like Dr. Aphra and 000, that I really, really love, and Sana Solo, Han Solo's wife. But this character, too, is also a really good one that's been across a couple of the different titles. It's Gracchus, the Hutt. Not Jabba the Hutt. There's another Hutt. You knew there had to be more than one Hutt. There's also a really good Wookiee bounty hunter. I forgot what his name is. It's something really hard to pronounce. It's like Black Christmas or something. I'm just going to say his name is Black Christmas. But he's also another good character. So get this in trades if you have to catch up or whatever. But it's been really, really good. And so in this issue, Han Solo and Chewbacca have to transport Gracchus the Hutt to someplace where he can be interrogated. And before they get there, they decide to interrogate themselves. So really well written. The art is awesome in here too. And there's a couple, like I said, there's a couple of these characters that I believe have been created just in the Marvel run of this, the current Marvel run of this, and they've just been fun characters like Gracchus. So if you like your Gracchus, get your Gracchus on. I think I've mentioned before that everyone should always have Astral City on their pull list. It's just one of the best comics around. It never disappoints, and sometimes it's really, really, really good. And I mean like extra super good. I said really like 4 times there. That's how good it is. But this particular issue, number 47 and I believe number 48, are about G-Dog. Yes, somebody who has corgi powers. And of course, it's written exceptionally well. Busiek always, and Norton is doing the artwork in this one, who does Battle Plug, so dogs. And it's just a fun story about a guy who gets puppy powers and how it changes him. All the sort of attributes we want to give to dogs about their loyalty and their need to, make us happy are shown in this comic, and it's just so well written and so well done. I can't say enough good things about Astro City. Please get this and put it on your pull list. You will not be disappointed if you love comics and you love these kind of characters. It's almost like the powers are secondary because there's such an emotional life that goes on in a lot of the characters that Busiek writes, and the trials and tribulations that they go through are very real world. I mean, I really loved that issue, and of course they, let us know that the next issue is going to be a downer. So I don't know, but read it, you'll love it. I got the second issue of Redlands, and I don't know how long this is going to go for me. Again, it's the basic. Witches are the new thing now. Wicca and witches and all that kind of stuff is really hot right now. And this comic is about 3 witches. Last issue, it was 3 witches who locked all these southern bumpkins in a house and then burned it down. This issue, those 3 witches apparently are now the law of the land of Redlands. They're the police and the private investigators and blah, 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 blah. But now they're being stalked by a serial killer type. I'm not sure how interested I am in that. They haven't done a very good job of establishing the 3 main ladies, other than that they're witches. And the art is kind of getting sketchy. So we'll see if this continues or not. But if you like that sort of vein, like if I was going to read something about Wiccans and witches types, I read Black Magic. It's way better than this. Sorry, Redlands, but you're just not serving it. Bane Conquest, we're still reading this. Catwoman has been in the last issue and this issue, and there's absolutely no reason for her to be there, and she doesn't do anything in either of the issues either. So I don't know if Catwoman sells it or not, but I still enjoy what they're doing with Bane, We'll see. Mr. Miracles. It's Miracles. This is issue number 2 of this series. It's still pretty good. He's gone to fight with Granny Goodness, and we learned some things about him and her and Barda all together. I don't want to ruin that for you. But it's been good so far. We'll see. It's 12 issues, right? We finally got to the end of this sad affair. Why? Could you just not do any more of these? Just don't. So Captain America, Hydra Captain America, finally meets real Captain America, whatever that means. And they fight, and guess who wins? Well, for the longest time in this comic, they've been doing this sort of dual, trapped in the cosmic cube, Daddy Captain America, because he looked so hot. Trapped in the cosmic cube, finally gets out with Cubics to fight Hydra Captain America. I don't know. It's a mess. It's just a mess. And everyone else stands around. And it's written so heavy-handedly. Just about triumph of the will and all this kind of crazy stuff. And the art is really bad. It's really sad. The groupings of characters are sad. The only thing that comes out of this, I believe, that I would say would be interesting going forward is that Black Widow dies. And so it'll be interesting to see if anybody cares about that or not. Everything else is just sort of, it was really blah. So, I don't know, maybe somebody got some fun out of that. The last comic I'm going to talk about is Star Wars Adventures by IDW. Why is IDW doing a Star Wars comic? That's what I want to know. How did they get that? How did they get that to go? I would think Marvel had some exclusivity to it, but I've read this. I'm going to read a couple issues of this to see how it goes. I like a all ages comic. I don't mind an all ages comic if it's well written. The cool thing about this comic is that it stars Rey from the latest movies. So if they expand on her character, that's going to be very interesting. The art's pretty good. It's got a nice tone to it. And then they've got this other little mini series going, a backup in it called Tales from Wild Space, which I think is going to be different people each time. This time it's got Obi-Wan Kenobi in it, and he tells a fun story to some folks. So first good issue. First issue is good. I don't know. Language is not my forte. Laughing is. Yay. So yeah, get this if you like it. If you like stuff like that. So if I'm going to give you a top 3 from what I've read this last period, it's going to be, let me look. Don't watch. I'm pulling comics over here. Comics. It's going to be, okay. Star Wars Adventure. Get this, pull it. You'll like it. Astro City, I mean, this should be on your pull list all the time, no matter what, but this issue specifically is another really awesome arc. And this Star Wars one, especially if you've got any knowledge about the newer characters for the Star Wars universe that Marvel's been doing, because this issue, specifically with Gracchus in it, is a fun little, it's a fun little issue. So those are the 3 I'm suggesting you read. Read comic books every day. You'll just be happier.